The investigator slid the folder across his desk. "You need to look at this, Mr. Hayes." I didn't want to open it. My hands were shaking. It had been 3 weeks since the court took Owen away. 3 weeks of empty nursery. 3 weeks of Lena crying herself to sleep. "What's in here?" "Evidence," he said quietly. I opened the first page. A photograph. A family. Mom, dad, baby. They looked happy. Smiling in front of a house. "Who are they?" His jaw tightened. 2019. First family. Baby was taken away after 8 months. Same scenario as yours. Double asterisk. My throat closed. I turned the page. Another family. 2020. Different faces. Same smile. Same happiness. Same baby. Another page. 2021. Another. 2022. Another. My hand stopped shaking. Something cold settled in my chest. "How many?" I asked. He looked me in the eye. "With you. 10. Double asterisk. My name is Callum Hayes. I'm 41 years old. I'm an electrical engineer in Portland, Oregon. 6 months ago, I adopted a baby boy. We named him Owen. 3 weeks ago, the court took him away from me. And today, I learned that my brother, the man who helped me adopt Owen, had done this to 9 other families. This is that story. I met my wife Lena in college, Washington State University, 2004. We were both engineering students. She was studying civil. I was in electrical. We got married in 2009, bought a house in Portland in 2012. By 2015, we were ready to start a family. Nothing happened. Year 1, we thought it was normal. It takes time, everyone said. Year 2, we saw a fertility specialist. Tests, procedures, everything looked fine on paper. Keep trying. Year 3, we tried IVF. First round failed. Second round failed. Third round failed. By 2021, we'd spent over $60,000 on fertility treatments. 6 years of hormone injections, invasive procedures, monthly disappointments, and shattered hopes. Lena was 35. I was 37. We were exhausted. One night in August 2021, Lena came home from another failed appointment. She sat on our couch and cried for 2 hours. When she finally spoke, her voice was hollow. "I can't do this anymore." I held her. "Okay, we'll stop, but I still want to be a mom. Then we'll find another way." That's when we started looking into adoption. My brother Rhett is 3 years younger than me. We grew up in Eugene, Oregon. Close family, same schools. We played in the same Little League team, went to the same summer camps. Rhett was always the social one. Charming, talkative, good at making connections. After college, he moved to Portland and got a job at a private adoption agency called New Beginnings Adoptions. Started as an admin assistant, worked his way up to case coordinator. When Lena and I told our family we were exploring adoption, Rhett reached out immediately. "I can help," he said over dinner at our parents' house. "I work in adoptions. I know the process inside and out. Let me guide you." Lena's face lit up for the first time in months. "Really? That would be incredible." "Of course. You're my brother, Cal. I want to help you become a dad." We started the process in October 2021. Rhett walked us through everything. Background checks, home studies, financial disclosures, reference letters. He connected us with a social worker at his agency, helped us create our adoption profile book, photos of our house, our life, our dreams for a child. "The key," Rhett explained, "is finding the right birth mother, someone who chooses you specifically. It might take time." It did. 9 months passed. We were shown profiles of several birth mothers. None of them selected us. Each rejection felt like another failure. Then in July 2022, Rhett called with news. "I found her. Her name is Kayla, 22 years old, lives in Salem, due in December. She saw your profile and loved it, wants to meet you both." We met Kayla at a coffee shop in Salem on a Saturday morning. She was 5 months pregnant, soft-spoken, nervous. She told us her story. Unexpected pregnancy. The father wasn't involved. She wasn't ready to be a mother. "I want my baby to have a good life," she said, hands wrapped around her coffee cup, "with 2 parents who really love him. I think that's you." Lena started crying. I reached across the table and squeezed Kayla's hand. We promise. We'll give him everything. Kayla smiled. I know. Over the next 4 months, we stayed in contact. Red arranged everything. Kayla's medical appointments, legal consultations, counseling sessions. We paid for her prenatal care, living expenses, legal representation. The costs added up fast. Agency fees, $35,000. Birth mother expenses, $28,000. Legal fees, $18,000. Miscellaneous costs, $6,000. Total, $87,000. It was everything we had left after IVF, our entire savings. Gone. But we didn't care. We were going to be parents. Rhett handled all the paperwork. Consent forms, termination of parental rights, adoption agreements. He'd bring documents to our house, explain what we were signing, file everything with the court. Don't worry, he'd say. I've done this 100 times. Everything's by the book. We trusted him. He was family. Owen was born on December 14th, 2022. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect. Lena and I were in the delivery room. Kayla handed him to us an hour after he was born. Take care of him, she whispered. We brought Owen home 2 days later. For 6 months, we were a family. Owen's first smile at 6 weeks. His first laugh at 3 months. The way he'd grab my finger with his tiny hand and hold on like he'd never let go. Sleepless nights that felt like blessings. Diaper changes. Bottle feedings at 3 a.m., watching him discover his hands, his feet, the mobile above his crib. Lena would sing to him every night, the same lullaby her mom used to sing to her. I'd rock him to sleep in the chair we'd picked out together. Rhett visited a few times, brought gifts, took photos. You guys are naturals, he'd say. Our parents came up from Eugene every other weekend. He looks just like you did as a baby, my mom told me, tears in her eyes. We started planning his first birthday party. Lena made lists. I researched daycares for when she went back to work. Everything was perfect. Then on June 22nd, 2023, 6 months and 8 days after we brought Owen home, someone knocked on our door. It was a process server. He handed me an envelope. Callum Hayes? Yes, you've been served. Inside was a petition. Emergency custody hearing. Petitioner, Kayla Morrison. She was suing to get Owen back. The hearing was 3 days later. We barely had time to find a lawyer. Kayla sat on the other side of the courtroom with her attorney. She wouldn't look at us. Her lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client never consented to this adoption. The documents were forged. She was coerced. She wants her child back. Our lawyer objected. The consent forms are signed and notarized. The adoption was finalized by this court. The judge reviewed the paperwork, frowned, called for a recess. 2 hours later, we reconvened. The judge looked at me. His expression was grave. Mr. Hayes, I've reviewed the documents submitted by both parties. There are serious irregularities. The consent forms appear to have been signed on different dates than documented. The notary seal doesn't match state records. And Ms. Morrison has provided evidence, text messages, emails, showing she was pressured into signing documents she didn't understand. My heart stopped. I'm ordering a full investigation. In the meantime, Owen will be placed in temporary foster care pending resolution. Your Honor, please. Lena stood up. I'm sorry, Mrs. Hayes, but I can't allow a child to remain in a potentially fraudulent adoption. The decision is final. They took Owen that afternoon. A social worker came to our house. We had 30 minutes to pack his things. Bottles, clothes, his favorite stuffed elephant. Lena held him until the last possible second. When they took him from her arms, she collapsed. I stood in the nursery after they left. The crib still had his blanket. The mobile still turned slowly above it. Everything was exactly the same, except Owen was gone. I called Rhett that night. He didn't answer. I called 10 more times. Nothing. The next morning, I drove to his apartment, pounded on the door until he opened it. Cal Dash. What the hell happened? I pushed past him into his living room. The judge said the documents were forged. The consent forms. The notary seals. What did you do? Rhett's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me. You handled all the paperwork. You filed everything. He ran his hand through his hair. wouldn't meet my eyes. Maybe there was a clerical error. These things happen. A clerical error? They took our son. I'll fix it. I'll talk to the agency. We'll sort this out. When did Kayla sign the consent forms? He hesitated. December, right after Owen was born. The judge said the dates don't match. That she was pressured. She wasn't pressured. She wanted this. She chose you. But something in his voice was off. A tremor. Desperation. Rhett. I stepped closer. Tell me the truth. What did you do? He looked at me finally, and in his eyes, I saw it. Guilt. I need to go, he said. I have a meeting. He grabbed his keys and walked out, leaving me standing in his apartment. That's when I saw it. On his kitchen counter, a folder. New Beginnings Adoptions letterhead. Inside were documents. Adoption files. Not ours. Someone else's. I took photos with my phone, put the folder back, left. When I got home, I looked at the photos. The files were for a couple named Derek and Michelle Torres. They'd adopted a baby in 2021. At the bottom of one document, I saw a note in Rhett's handwriting. Consent forged. BM didn't show. Processed anyway. BM birth mother. My brother had forged adoption documents before, and he'd done it again. To us. I hired a private investigator the next day. His name was Marcus Flynn. Former detective. Specialized in fraud cases. I showed him everything. The court documents, the photos from Rhett's apartment, the timeline of our adoption. Marcus listened. Took notes. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. Your brother's done this before. I know. I saw files for another couple. Not just them. Marcus opened his laptop. I did some preliminary research after you called. New Beginnings Adoptions has been flagged by the state 3 times in the past 4 years for paperwork irregularities. Each time your brother's name came up. He showed me a report. Complaints from birth mothers, allegations of coercion, documents that didn't match testimony. Why wasn't he stopped? The agency buried it. NDAs. The birth mothers were young, scared, didn't have resources to fight back. He paused. But now we have you, a family willing to go public. I don't care about going public. I want Owen back. To get Owen back, we need to prove the adoption was fraudulent. And to do that, we need to find the other families your brother did this to. That's when he slid the folder across his desk. The folder with 10 families, 10 babies, all taken away. Marcus tapped the first photo. This is the Torres family, 2019. Their daughter Emma was removed after 8 months when the birth mother came forward. Said she never consented. He flipped to the next page. The Johnsons, 2020. Same scenario. Birth mother showed up, said the documents were forged. Another page. The Chens, 2021. The Ramirezes, 2021. The Patels, 2022. The O'Briens, 2022. The Nguyens, 2023. The Williamses, 2023. The Andersons, 2023. And finally us. The Hayes family, 2023. 10 families, Marcus said. All processed by your brother. All had their adoptions overturned for fraud. All lost their children. I stared at the photos. Happy families. Smiling parents. Babies. Just like why didn't anyone stop him? The families were devastated. Most of them didn't want to talk about it. Too painful. Too shameful. They just moved on. Or tried to. Did any of them get their babies back? Marcus shook his head. Not one. Once the adoption's overturned, the child goes back to the birth mother or into state custody. The adoptive parents have no legal standing. My chest tightened. So we're not getting Owen back. Not unless we can prove something different happened here. Something that makes your case special. Like what? Like proving Kayla actually did consent. And someone else, your brother, interfered after the fact. Finding Kayla wasn't hard. Marcus got her address in Salem. I drove there on a Saturday morning. She answered the door holding Owen. My son, 6 months old. He'd grown, changed. I'd missed a month of his life. Kayla's face went white. You can't be here. I just want to talk. My lawyer said, please, 5 minutes. She hesitated, then stepped outside, closing the door behind her. Owen stayed inside with someone, maybe her mom. Did you consent to the adoption? I asked. No. I told them that in court, but you signed paperwork. Rhett said it was temporary guardianship, that I could change my mind anytime. He said it wasn't final. My stomach dropped. When did he tell you that? When I signed, 2 days after Owen was born. I was exhausted, emotional. Rhett brought the papers to the hospital, said I didn't need a lawyer, that it was standard process. Did you read them? She looked down. Not really. I trusted him. He worked at the agency. I thought he was helping me. He was my brother. I know. He told me. She paused. He said you and your wife had been trying for years, that you'd be perfect parents, that I'd be giving Owen the best life. Then why did you change your mind? Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't. Not at first. But a few months later, I started asking Rhett for updates. Photos. He kept saying he'd get them. Then he stopped answering my calls. When was that? March. 3 months after Owen was born. I got scared. I called the agency. They said there was no arrangement for me to get updates, that the adoption was closed, final, that I'd signed away all my rights. That's when you got a lawyer. She nodded. I didn't understand what I'd signed. The lawyer looked at the documents and said they were wrong, that the language didn't match what Rhett had told me, that I'd been coerced. Did Rhett ever pressure you to sign? Not directly. But he kept saying how much you needed this, how you'd been waiting so long, how heartbroken your wife was. He made me feel like I'd be a terrible person if I didn't do it. I closed my eyes. Classic manipulation. I'm sorry, Kayla said quietly. I didn't want to hurt you. But Owen is my son. He was mine too. We stood there in silence. Finally, I asked, if you could do it over, knowing what really happened, would you still want the adoption? She looked at me for a long time. I don't know. Marcus and I went to see Rhett together. This time, we brought the evidence. The 10 families, the forged documents, Kayla's testimony. Rhett let us into his apartment. Looked like he hadn't slept in days. I know why you're here, he said. Then talk. He sat on his couch, rubbed his face. I needed the money. For what? Debt, gambling. I got in deep with some people. They were threatening me. Marcus leaned forward. How much? 200,000. Over 3 years. And the adoptions? The agency pays me commission. 5,000 per successful placement. But there aren't enough babies. Birth mothers back out. Adoptions fall through. I needed more. So you started forging documents? He nodded. At first, it was just the Torres family. The birth mother got cold feet at the last minute. But the family had already bonded with the baby. I thought, if I just adjusted the paperwork, said she'd consented, no one would know. But she found out. 6 months, she came to the agency, made a scene. I convinced her to settle, gave her money. She went away. Then you did it again. It worked once. I thought it would work again. And it did. 8 more times. Until Kayla. His jaw tightened. Kayla was different. She actually wanted updates. She cared. Most of the birth mothers I worked with just wanted it over. But Kayla kept calling. I knew she'd figure it out eventually. So you lied to her, told her she could change her mind. I told her what she needed to hear to sign. Marcus stood. You defrauded 10 families, manipulated 10 birth mothers, stole nearly $1 million in fees. I was trying to help. You were trying to save yourself. Rhett looked at me. Kel, I'm sorry. I never meant to. Don't. My voice was ice. You took my son. You destroyed my family because you were in debt. I'll fix it. I'll testify. I'll tell the court what really happened. That won't bring Owen back. Maybe it will. If I admit I coerced Kayla, if I say the adoption was legitimate before I interfered, maybe the court will reconsider. Marcus and I exchanged looks. It was a long shot, but it was the only shot we had. The legal battle took 18 months. Admitted everything. The forgeries, the coercion, the pattern of fraud across 10 families. The state filed criminal charges. Rhett was arrested. New Beginnings adoptions shut down. But our case was complicated. Kayla's lawyer argued that even if Rhett had manipulated her, she still didn't want to give up Owen now. She'd had him for over a year. He knew her as his mother. Our lawyer argued that the original adoption had been legitimate, that Kayla had consented, that Rhett's interference after the fact didn't void the initial agreement. The judge ordered mediation, DNA tests, psychological evaluations, home studies for both families. It was hell. Lena and I were allowed supervised visits with Owen once a week. 1 hour, in a cold, sterile room at a state facility. He didn't recognize us at first. Cried when we held him. It broke Lena's heart. But slowly, over months, he started to remember, started reaching for us, smiling when we walked in. Kayla attended some of the visits, watched from the corner. I could see the conflict on her face. One day after a visit, she asked to talk to us privately. "I've been thinking," she said, "about what's best for Owen, not what's best for me." "Okay," Lena said carefully. "When I gave birth, I was 22. Alone, scared. I thought I couldn't be a mom, that Owen would be better off with you." She paused. "Now I'm 24. I have a job, an apartment. My mom helps me, and I love him so much." "We know." But her voice cracked. "He was yours for 6 months. You're good people. You would have been good parents. And what Rhett did, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't yours either," I said. She looked at Owen, sleeping in his carrier. "I don't know what's right anymore." 3 months later, Kayla and her lawyer approached us with a proposal. Shared custody. Owen would split time between both families. We'd co-parent. Make decisions together. It wasn't what we'd hoped for, but it was something. We agreed. Rhett was convicted in December 2024. Multiple counts of fraud, forgery, and exploitation. Sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Ordered to pay $940,000 in restitution to the 10 families he'd defrauded. The sentencing hearing was packed. 8 of the 10 families attended. They gave victim impact statements. The Torres family, the Johnsons, the Chens, the Ramirezes, the Patels. Each story was the same. Hope, joy, then devastation, empty nurseries, broken hearts. The judge listened to all of it. When it was my turn to speak, I stood. "Your Honor, my brother took something from me that I'll never fully get back. 6 months of my son's life, the joy of being his father, without fear, the trust I had in my own family." I looked at Rhett. He was crying, but he also taught me something. That family isn't just blood. That love is what you build, not what you're given. And that even when everything falls apart, you keep fighting for what matters. I sat down. Lena squeezed my hand. The judge gave Rhett 11 years. As they led him away, Rhett looked at me one last time. Mouthed, "I'm sorry." I didn't respond. Owen is 3 years old now. He spends 3 days a week with us, 4 days with Kayla. It's not perfect, but it works. He calls Lena Mama Lena. He calls Kayla Mama. He calls me Dad. At first, it was confusing for him. 2 homes, 2 families. But kids adapt. He knows he's loved in both places. Kayla and I have become something like friends. We text about Owen's schedule, his preferences, his milestones. We attend his daycare events together. Split holidays. It's strange. I never imagined this would be my life. But here's what I've learned. Parenting isn't about ownership. It's not about who has legal rights or who gave birth or who signed papers. It's about showing up, being present, loving unconditionally. Owen knows he has people who love him. That's what matters. After Rhett's conviction, Marcus helped me connect with the other 9 families. We formed a support group, met once a month at first, then quarterly. The Torres family, the Johnsons, the Chens, the Ramirezes, the Patels, the O'Briens, the Nguyens, the Williamses, the Andersons. Each family had a different outcome. 3 families, like us, negotiated shared custody arrangements with the birth mothers. 2 families had their adoptions reinstated after the birth. Mothers voluntarily relinquished their rights again, this time with full understanding. 4 families never got their children back. The birth mothers kept full custody. Those families are still grieving. We share our stories, our struggles, our small victories. One family, the Chens, started a nonprofit. It provides free legal support to adoptive families dealing with fraud or disputed adoptions. Another family, the Patels, lobbied for adoption reform in Oregon, stricter oversight, better protections for both birth mothers and adoptive families. We turned our pain into purpose. People ask me if I regret adopting Owen. The answer is no. Even with everything that happened, the fraud, the court battle, the shared custody, I wouldn't change it. Owen is my son, maybe not in the way I originally planned, but in all the ways that matter. I've learned that family is complicated, that love doesn't follow legal documents, that sometimes the right answer isn't black and white. Kayla is a good mom. She loves Owen fiercely, and I respect that. But I'm his dad too, and I always will be. As for Rhett, I haven't spoken to him since the sentencing. Lena thinks I should. Says forgiveness is important, maybe one day. But right now, I'm focused on Owen, on being present, on building the life we have, not mourning the life we lost. Last week, Owen was at our house. It was bedtime. Lena sang him the lullaby she's sung since he was born. He looked up at her, his eyes heavy, and said, "I love you, Mama Lena." She cried, happy tears. Later that night, after he was asleep, I stood in his doorway and watched him breathe, his chest rising and falling, his stuffed elephant clutched in his arms. He was home, not permanently, not legally in the traditional sense, but home, and that's enough. My name is Callum Hayes. 3 years ago, my brother helped me adopt a baby. He defrauded me, took $87,000, forged documents, got arrested. I lost my son for 18 months, but I didn't give up. I fought. I co-parented with the birth mother. I built a new kind of family. And I learned that sometimes the hardest battles lead to the most important victories. Owen is my son, and nothing, not fraud, not court orders, not even my own brother, could ever change that. This is my story, and I'm still writing it.